A lot of people moving to Prague or visiting for the first time still think they're coming to an Eastern European developing cheap city. But honestly, that's not the case anymore. Prague is a fantastic place to live with a lot of advantages over other European cities, but cheap, that depends. It really comes down where you're coming from, what your expectations are, and whether you're earning a Czech salary or getting paid from abroad. In this video, I'll walk you through the key cost of living factors like groceries, rent, transport, and lifestyle, so you can get a clear picture of what life in Prague actually costs in 2025. Let's dive in. Let's start with the biggest expense for most people, housing. Rent prices in Prague vary a lot depending on location and size. A basic studio in a non-central area like Vršovice now goes for around 14 to 22,000 crowns a month. In a more central upscale neighborhood, expect 19 to 26,000 or more. If you need more space, say a 90 square meter 3-room apartment, you're looking at 30 to 50,000 in an average area and 35 to 60,000 in the center. And that's just cold rent. Utilities, building fees, and internet add another 3 to 5,000 per month. If you're thinking of buying instead, the average price per square meter in Prague is now around 160,000 crowns, and much more in premium areas. To give you an idea, a studio in Vinohrady or the city center might cost 6.5 to 9 million Czech crowns. A larger 90 square meter flat in those areas is 15 to 20 million. In average neighborhoods like Libeň, it's around 6 to 8 million for a studio or 13 to 18 million for a larger flat. In older panel buildings on the outskirts like Černý Most, prices drop to 5 to 6.5 million for a studio and 8.5 to 10 million for a bigger flat. If you're moving from abroad, buying might actually be easier than renting, especially with the pressure on the rental market. But keep in mind, mortgage payments at current rates are about 50% higher than rent. Still, depending on your situation, it might be worth it. And if you're considering buying, feel free to reach out. Helping buyers is one of our main specialties. To put things in perspective, Prague is now the third most expensive city in Europe by income to housing ratio, after Amsterdam and Athens. It takes over 15 annual salaries to buy an average apartment here. So Prague's no longer a bargain, especially if you're earning a local salary. But if you're paid in euros or dollars or coming from cities like London or New York, it might still feel affordable. So once you've sorted housing, the next biggest part of your budget will go to everyday living. Groceries, eating out, transport, and lifestyle. Let's start with groceries. Food prices in Prague are a bit of a sore spot. They're often higher than in neighboring countries like Poland or even Germany. It's something Czechs complain about regularly. A typical weekly shop for 2 people will set you back anywhere from 2 to 5,000 crowns depending on your lifestyle and your preferences. Here's some rough prices to give you an idea. Milk costs around 22 crowns, bread is between 30 and 60 crowns depending on the quality of the loaf, eggs are around 65 crowns for 10, cheese is between 35 and 60 crowns per 150 grams, coffee is between 250 and 350 crowns for a bag of quality beans. One of the best things about grocery shopping in Prague is Rohlík.cz, a fast, reliable delivery service with great quality and honestly one of the best I've seen anywhere. If you decide to eat out, a daily lunch menu at an average restaurant would cost you around 250 crowns, including a drink. A dinner for 2 at a mid-range place with drinks will usually cost between 800 and 1200 Czech crowns. If you go for coffee, and you should because Prague has a great coffee culture, a cappuccino costs around 80 crowns. A good beer in a pub costs around 70 crowns, but you can get a much cheaper one as well. Now, transport. This is where Prague really shines. Public transport in Prague is fast, efficient, and super cheap. It costs 3,650 crowns for the full year, 550 crowns for a monthly pass, and 30 crowns for a single ride. If you drive in Prague, fuel is currently around 38 crowns per liter, and parking can be tricky and expensive in the center. Healthcare works a bit differently depending on your status. If you're employed in the Czech Republic, you'll usually be covered by public insurance, which gives you access to all basic services. If you're a freelancer or a digital nomad, expect to pay for private insurance, anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000 crowns per month, depending on your coverage, age, and other factors. Out-of-pocket costs for private doctors and dentists are usually reasonable compared to Western Europe, and especially if you compare it to the United States. And finally, let's talk lifestyle. A gym membership will cost you around 1,300 crowns per month for an average gym. A movie ticket costs around 300 crowns. There are plenty of free, cheap cultural events around the city, especially in the summer. Whether you're into hiking, cycling, music, or art, Prague offers a great lifestyle, even on a tighter budget. So to wrap up, is Prague still a cheap place to live? Well, yes and no. If you're earning a Czech salary, especially in a junior role, Prague can feel pretty expensive, especially when it comes to rent, food, and buying property. But if you're coming from abroad and earning in euros, dollars, or pounds, you might find the cost of living still very reasonable, especially when you factor in the quality of life you get here. A safe city, great public transport, a rich cultural scene, and easy access to nature. In the end, it really depends on your situation, income, and lifestyle. Prague isn't a budget destination anymore, but for many people, it still offers a great value. And if you're dealing with anything real estate related here in Prague, whether it's renting out your property, selling, buying, property management, or even just trying to make sense of the local market, feel free to reach out. That's exactly what we help foreign clients every day at my firm. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos about living in Prague and navigating the Czech property market. See you in the next one.